Hello students, today we are going to discuss about gravitation. The gravitation which was discovered by Isaac Newton. Newton was a scientist that discovered the gravitation when he was sitting under the tree of apple. He saw that an apple comes towards him from a certain height. He think about that how apple comes towards him. So he found later on that a force which acts on him is that gravitational force which attracts the apple towards him by the earth. So Isaac Newton discovered about the gravitation. Now gravitation has a wide meaning, means we can see that sun attracts the planets towards him, means many of the planets like earth, Jupiter, Mars and so many planets are present which circulate around the sun and having a force of attraction of sun towards them. They rotate in a certain orbit which is called orbit, or you can say their shell. In their particular path they rotate. Now as we discuss about the Earth, Jupiter, Mars and different planets, now we will discuss about the universal law of gravitation. We have discussed about the definition. Now we will discuss about the universal law of gravitation. The universal law of gravitation is also known as Newton's law of gravitation because it was discovered by Newton. This states that this is an object A and this is the object B having mass m1 and mass m2. m1 and m2 are two masses, means A and B are the two objects having the mass m1 and the mass m2, which having the distance r. They are at a certain distance, we called it r. As we know that they are separate from each other with a distance r, but a certain force acts on it which is called gravitational force, or you can say gravitation, which attracts A to B and B to A. As we know that F1 is equal to minus F2, means the force acts by A. You can say first object A, second object B, means B attracts to A and A attracts to B in opposite direction due to the Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion states that every object attracts to each other in equal force but in different direction or in opposite direction. So the force act on him on the mass m1 which is directly proportional to the m1. Force act on it between the two objects which will be equal to m1 F directly proportional to m2, means m1 object, m2 object is directly proportional to the force applied, but inversely proportional to the square of their distance. R is the distance and it is the inversely proportional to the square of the distance R. So we can conclude that, as we know that if we increase the distance between the two objects, the force of attraction between the two objects will decrease. As we have seen in the magnet that when we bring near the two magnets, they will attract to each other. But if we separate them with a certain distance, they will not attract. or the force of attraction between the two objects will be decreased. So if we conclude that F directly proportional to m1 m2 divided by r square. F m1 m2 divided by r square means this is inversely proportional. So we can see if we will increase the m1, then force will also increase. If we will increase the m2, force will also increase. But as we increase the r square, means as we increase the distance, force will decrease. So this is the relation in F, M and R. Now if we will remove the sign of directly proportional, then we will apply here equal to, and a constant we will write here, that is capital G. This capital G is known as gravitational constant. Capital G is known as gravitational constant. This gravitational constant has a fixed value all over the universe. We can say in Earth, in Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, Moon, anywhere in the universe, the value of G will remain always same. The gravitational constant will remain always same. The value of gravitational constant is 6.673 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square upon kilogram square. 6.673 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square upon kilogram square. This value is fixed, and how can we find the unit of this G? So we can conclude from this, as we have seen that G is equal to Fr square upon m1 upon m2. F unit Newton, R is distance, so meter square, upon m1 is kilogram into kilogram. Here 2 times mass, so we will write 2 times kilogram. So the unit will become Newton meter square upon kilogram square. So we can write here Newton meter square upon kilogram square. Now we will consider that m1 is 1 kilogram, m2 is also 1 kilogram, and the and the distance is also 1 meter. So we can put the value here. Now G is equal to F is equal to this side G, m1 is 1, m2 is 1, r is also 1. 1 into 1 upon 1 square. So we can say that F is equal to G. F is equal to G. F is equal to G means the force having the unit Newton will be equal to the gravitational constant, and the force will be equal to 6.673 into 10 raised to power minus 11 Newton meter square upon kilogram square. For 1 kilogram object m1 and m2 also 1 kilogram, and the distance between them is also 1 meter. So we can write that F is equal to 6.673 into 10 raised to power minus 11. So this is the universal law of gravitation, or you can say Newton's law of gravitation.